Greetings, welcome to Deck 3D. Right, mate, we are rebooting the Q&A series. I used to do this all the time. It was called Ask TFI back in the day. It was fun. I loved doing it, man. It was awesome. I did live streams as well. I miss that so much, but life took over, day job took over, stuff happened, and as the channel kind of grew and videos grew, there's just too much noise from too many different directions now. Too many sources of, I don't know, like Instagram, Facebook, like I've got 400 plus videos from 7 years with people asking questions across all of those and emails coming in. It's too much to sort of keep tabs on. So what I want to do, I want to start up a new Q&A series. I really need to, and I want to engage with the people who are currently watching my videos. I love doing that. It's what keeps me going. And I've just not been doing that a lot. And I really need to. So I want to do that via this and also live streams. How often? I don't know. It depends how many questions come through. Maybe bi-weekly to start. And the way I want to structure this is, if you've got any questions, put them in this comments feed of this video. Benefit of that is it's in one area that I can just grab them, and then I don't have to go looking around everywhere and keep tabs on multiple different areas. Like, I don't check my Facebook messages from my Tech 3D Facebook page. I just can't. When do I go there and check that? The same with that Instagram thing. I mean, I really should. I'd probably be a much better YouTuber if I was managing my Instagram page, but I've just got better. I just wish I could. But yeah, I'll do it, and I'll take them from this comment stream. But it also lets me ensure that I'm answering questions from people that I know are watching my videos, rather than go to a video from 5 years ago, grabbing the latest comment, because that person probably isn't a regular viewer. So there's that. The questions can be about anything, right? What laptop you should buy. Give us a budget though. Who's going to win between Verstappen and Hamilton? What's my favourite car? What car you should buy? I don't know. The only limits are no tech support stuff. Like, you've got a model and you don't know how to model something, or a tech, like Inventor's crashing, right? Something like that. Tech support stuff that needs somebody to ring you up and dial into your PC and help you out one-to-one. I've got an example of stuff like that towards the end, because I get tons of that. I draw the line at that, so none of that. But right, we'll get but if the audio is a bit weird, I'm using, I mean, I don't need to mention this, but why am I mentioning this? I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast, right? I've got a perpetual audio issues, reverb, because I'm in a room shaped like a church. So I'm using new software to try and fix that. It's literally the last straw before I either throw the towel in and give up, or I don't know, sit in a room draped with duvets or something. I don't know. But like, these three things behind me, these are like studio grade 600 quid worth of acoustic dampening, like rock wool filled panels, and they don't work. I've got like acoustic panels all over the ceiling and stuff, and nothing works. So I'm trying AI like reverb reduction now. Honestly. Right, I've got, I don't know, 7 or 8 questions to go through, which I've just picked at random. I don't know if these people aren't regular viewers of the channel, then they'll never see the answers. But that's kind of why I want to pick questions from this video rather than like old videos and stuff. So we'll just start with these ones. All right. So this is Rapman CZ. Why 4K is no good for me and possibly for you too was a video I made about 3 or 4 years ago. This was when 4K it wasn't just starting to get popular, but there was a bit of a push with monitor makers and stuff to try and increase adoption of 4K, but it wasn't doing well for Autodesk stuff. I'll not rehash the content of the video, but it was slowing down Inventor, because Inventor wasn't great on 4K. There was scaling issues, and the core message was, look, just ultra-wide's better. So Rapman CZ is saying, so what's the situation now like in 2021? Is there a change in your opinion with Windows 11? He's thinking about buying this HP monitor, which is 28-inch 4K. So you'll have to use scaling. Yeah, on 28-inch, yeah, probably 125% or 150%. Yeah, look, things have changed quite a bit in the last few years. Autodesk have fixed quite a fair bit. With Inventor specifically, the performance issues are no longer there. When you did a benchmark, like, it used to be Inventor Bench back then before Inventor existed, and you would have to reduce your resolution to 1080 before you ran that, because it would knock off like 30 to 40% of your score just by having it at 4K. And I think that was because the viewport was rendered at 4K. I don't think they do that anymore. I think no one's come out and confirmed it, but I'm pretty sure the Inventor viewport is now like downsampled to 1080 or something. But I don't know, it's fine now, right? There's no weird scaling issues anymore, except with Vault, which is just an absolute dog's dinner of a UI. I don't know how they're allowed to still keep pushing that out. They haven't even converted to the ribbon bar yet, but TLDR on that is, I would still go for an ultra wide, right? That's still my preferred monitor of choice. But I was going for a laptop. I would not deselect the 4K screen, especially now that laptop screens typically on the higher ends are coming with HDR and 120 Hertz options now built in. So those are compelling options for displays. All right, next one is an email that came through. I don't know if he wants his name included, so I'm not going to mention it. But he's asking about real-world performance on Alder Lake. Works in the mining industry. His models are around 125,000 to 200,000 parts. Works at home on Teams. If he's in a Teams meeting, it seems to be fairly hard on Inventor. Which, I mean, it shouldn't be. Unless you're... I don't know what... No, I mean, there's no link between Teams and Inventor unless you're on the absolute limit of what you've got. I've got the 8-core 9900K Godlike motherboard, 128 gigs of RAM. Basically, best at the time, yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, at the time, you couldn't have got anything better than that because 128 gigs of RAM is the most you can use with the 9900K. With the new 12900K, if I'm doing something on Inventor, let's say opening a large assembly, which can take some time, will the E-cores take over? Or will the P-cores shift over to Teams? I think you're asking that. You're asking about worst case there, aren't you? Right, this would not be ideal because you'd want the P. Yeah. So no. So with Alder Lake, the market material implies that the E-cores would only handle light tasks like file explorers and browsers and stuff. That's not the way it works. It's not the way it's really panning out, and there's no real way to monitor what the P and E cores are doing. Like, you can't check that. Oh, the E cores are, oh yeah, it's handling Teams. Oh, it's great, crack on. And you can't force, to my knowledge anyway, you can't force certain applications onto E cores, and even setting processors. I remember hearing someone say if you try to set processor affinity, it just knocks the whole thing off. But long story short, there's no concerns at all, right? After I did the day one testing on Alder Lake, 12th gen was absolutely dominant. It was using the P cores as it should. Whether the scheduler on Alder Lake in Windows 11 will be clever enough to differentiate what's what and what's doing what. At the moment, it's not really doing that. When I did a full run of InvMark, and especially with the parametric FEA study where it does 10 bursts, the E cores were clearly being utilized over the parametric study. They were bursting at the same time as the P cores were during the FEA study. So, but there's still nothing to be concerned about. Alder Lake was dominant. It was absolutely miles ahead of 11th gen, miles ahead of everything else. So there's nothing to be concerned about. But it's certainly not the case that P's for the hard hitting stuff and E's only getting used for the light stuff. Not that straightforward. Could you do some testing on DDR4 and how it affects the CAD scores? It's hard to get DDR5. It is, yeah. Company uses Revit a lot. Right, I'm going to be doing this very soon. When I did the initial Alder Lake video, there was there was probably DDR4 boards being available to the press, but I mean, I've kind of accepted that I'm not popular enough to be getting the rationed stuff. I'm just going to get used to that. But I've got one now. So I've got a DDR4 board now and a DDR5 board, and I will be creating some comparisons between 4 and 5. It's just a case of getting it done. And when I say it's a case of getting it done, how deep down the hole do I go here? I wouldn't say there's a rant behind this, but I'm trying to figure out in the moment how to structure some of my content and how to present it. Because sure, I could I could do the tests offline, right? I could just shut this video down now that I'm doing, just walk over to the table, build the test bench, do the results, right? And then record a video and just show you some charts. That's it. Hey, welcome to Tech 3D. Oh, I've done the tests, right? Here's some charts. There you go. See you later, toodles. It's going to be 3 minutes long. Is that good enough? You see, the thing is, this is where I start to waffle. Well, I suppose it is a talky head video. I'm trying to figure out, moving forwards, the bigger picture is when I'm doing all this kind of tech content, how much information do I need to give, need to test, and need to show, because it's all getting a bit out of control, in my opinion. The levels of testing and the levels of data being presented in the tech tuber space is getting a bit out of control. I definitely do not want to go down this rabbit hole right now, but I feel like at the moment a lot of the tech tubers are kind of trying to one-up each other by kind of coming up with new tests that they can do, new validation tests, and it's like, why? Who needs to know that? It doesn't offer anything to the typical viewer of your channel. They don't need to know that. What business have they got knowing that particular data? It doesn't add anything. It doesn't offer anything. So yeah, I think things are going a bit too far with testing and with YouTube tech content, and I've kind of hit that point here where I'm like, do I carry on with entertaining that, or do I wind it back a bit? I don't know. So yeah, I need to figure that out before I proceed with that, but I need to figure it out soon because I think Asus want the board back. Right. Hi, congratulations on what? Entry level $180 GPU. I don't know what I'm being congratulated for, but thank you. This was a 4 or 5 year old video where I did a collab with AMD. They sent this over, and yeah, it was a decent. It was back in the good old days when you could buy them. It might still be available, actually. You might be able to pick some of these up on eBay, sort of from decommissioned old systems now, but it was the WX3100. Can this be applied to Revit? Don't know. Don't know. Unlike others, wow, I'm passive aggressive today. I don't like to give out advice on stuff I'm not an expert on. And that's very damaging when people do that. So I try to stick to my own areas of expertise. Based on like the Revit RFO test, it looks like Revit scales graphically with CPU performance. So it looks like GPU doesn't matter too much in Revit, but I'm not an expert at Revit. I don't know it all that intimately, so I would never dream of saying, yeah, graphics card's great for Revit, because someone like the Balkan Architect, who's a Revit YouTuber, he might be intimately familiar with how certain graphics cards work with certain parts of Revit. He might know of a reason why certain AMD graphics cards are broken in certain areas of Revit. And you've got one guy going, yeah, no problem, yeah, buy an AMD graphics card for Revit. And he's going, whoa, hang a minute, no, whoa. What the hell do you know? So no, I tend to not give out advice on stuff that I'm not an expert at. I stick to what I know, and I mind my own business. Right, this one came in, another email, which was the most bizarre email I've read in a long time. It was all justified to the right of the email. It's like I've got this massive ultra-wide screen like that. Usually the text on that side, it was all on the other side. It was very strange. I've got a question, if you can. We want to know if the integrated graphics card with the 12900K can help us very well with Autodesk software, so that because graphics cards aren't available at reasonable prices, or is it somehow not suitable? It's very much not suitable, mate. Especially its use within animation and texture in Maya. This is of interest to us. Yeah, I as much as I'm not wanting to pass comment on stuff that I'm not an expert in, one of those things being Maya, I can categorically tell you with absolute confidence, do not use a 12900K integrated GPU with Maya. Yeah, you're in for an absolute bad time with that. No, do not do that. It'll work. I mean, it'll run. It'll open. But you'll be hitting issues in no time. I mean, Maya itself will be CUDA dependent and RTX reliant in some areas. But, I mean, when you're using the integrated GPU, the VRAM is streamed to the system RAM. You're just going to have instability all day long. Oh, no, just don't do it. I know graphics cards are hard to come by. Try eBay. Try a really old. I don't know. There's got to be. I haven't looked, but there's got to be people who are decommissioning old workstations that have been recycled out of businesses. Maxwell Quadra M4000s, M3000s. I don't know. You know, those sort of cards. Old AMD. I don't know. Just see what there is out there and see if you can get a second-hand one for now, until this absolute joke of a market goes back to normal. Wow, it's big. Right, so this is suggesting a good laptop for 3D modeling and rendering. If you've got a question like this, always give me a budget, because I don't know, it's too much of an open-ended question without a budget. A good laptop for modeling and rendering, Lenovo 5i, Legion, i7 or AMD 3060 or 3070 for Inventor, Max, Revit and Keyshot. So I don't have too much experience with the Lenovo because, well, recent anyway, because they won't touch me with a barge pole because I beat on them so heavily over the years. But the Legion line apparently has got a pretty good rep, whether it's a different business unit and the sort of ThinkStation and ThinkPad lines, I don't know. And Jay's 2 cents rocks one as a daily driver. I don't usually look at that and go, that means it's good. I don't follow that train of thought that much, but if it was me, based on my experience, I'd go for the i7 over the AMD. And especially if you want to use Inventor or Revit, because it, based on the Alienware that I had in, which had the AMD mobile CPU, the R9, the Intel line was better at single-threaded clock speed, so go for the Intel. For Max and Keyshot though, those tend to be, I mean, the things so there's such big applications. Well, I mean, Keyshot isn't, but Max is. You can do so much in there. Keyshot's pretty straightforward. You're either CPU rendering or you're GPU rendering. You're probably going to be GPU rendering, so go for a 3070 for that. If it's for business anyway. If you're just playing around, then it's such a hard thing to say. Like, what's the best laptop for like 4 applications? It's such a hard question. It's hard enough for 1, let alone for 4. I would say i7 and 3070. If the Legion's good enough for you, go for the Legion. But I'm hesitant to get laptops in of that spec range at this point because they're 6 months into their life cycle, and if I get a laptop in now that's got an i7 in and a 11th gen in, I'm not sure how much life a review created now is going to have left in it. So before all the late laptops start coming out. So yeah. Right, this is a sort of a PSA, bit of information that came through via email. This is from Michael. He says he's got an HP Z1 with a Quadra 1000M on Windows 10, and he's basically just telling us to let some people know. I don't know how many people are going to be on old Quadra 1000Ms because they're like Maxwell generation from sort of 2016. But he said he was able to install a GeForce driver that fixed an issue with the Windows Store on his old Quadra, and he just said it might be worth letting people know. So yeah, it also seemed to turn the Quadra into a GeForce card in the device manager. It was just an identifier. It didn't actually turn it in, just an identifier. But thank you for that, Michael. Right, Andrew saying, can you review the Acer Nitro 5 with the 11800H? This links back to the Lenovo question. If you'd asked this question a couple of years ago, and lots of people did, lots of people saying, can you review this, can you review that? The answer would have been very different. The answer a couple of years ago would have been, I can't. Like, I cannot speak to anybody. Like, nobody's talking to me. I can't. That's very different now. I'm fortunately making a lot of headroom. Not with all the manufacturers. It's going to be an uphill battle because, you know, I don't reach a lot of people. It's a niche that I'm operating within, but some have seen the value and I'm making progress. But Acer is one that I've never had any engagement with at all. And there's no phone book for PR guys. I can't just go, all right, I fancy speaking to the guy from Acer. I'll just give him a quick call. Oh, where's his email address? Oh, he's on this website. Oh, there he is. No, I can't. I've got to wait for them to speak to me first. So, yeah, as much as I would love to, I've got to wait for them to get in touch with me before I can start grabbing Acer laptops. And unfortunately, as much as thank you for being a subscriber, Andrew, I can't be buying a laptop, just to let you know how it does. Right. This one, right, we're at the end of them now. It's just a couple of humorous ones. This is Thorley. He's like, bro, why is the World of Warcraft music? A while back, I was doing tutorials. I mean, most people watching this probably remember the music over the back of my tutorials. So if you come across any of my old videos and you're wondering why there's World of Warcraft music over them, yeah, it's I included this because I found it like it was a nostalgic thing. I'd personally forgotten myself, but I put World of Warcraft music over the CAD tutorials because there were royalty-free music that wasn't getting dinged by YouTube. I was a big World of Warcraft player back then, I was aggressively going after silent tutorials when I first got going. That was my way of differentiating myself. I'd be over energetic, be over the top, and put music there so it's like ambient and relaxing, and I got the vocal and music balance a bit wrong. But yeah, that's why. What's this one? Yeah, this was an example. Oh, I've got a couple of examples of questions. Right, we're wrapping up now. But these are the examples of questions to not ask. Right, I've got a strange problem. I need to apply a texture to a material. Works fine in a shader view when I switch to it. I cannot ask. This is the kind of question I cannot answer unless. Alright, what do you mean when you apply a texture to a material? Well, which texture? Which material? Well, what object are you putting on? I'll need to see it. Like, what model is it? Is it a spherical face or a square face? I need to see it. But I'm not going to see it. I don't have the ability to do that. Video requests on Inventor videos. That's fine. Absolutely. Make video requests. But I included this one because this is clearly a guy who doesn't watch my content on a regular basis, because if he did, he would realize I don't do Inventor videos anymore. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. If there's enough questions to do it weekly, we'll do it weekly. I very much doubt it, but we'll do it bi-weekly. I'll keep checking this on the regular. I'll not answer them, obviously, in text. I'll just, I don't know, maybe star them or something. If you see a question that you think, oh, I'd like to know the answer to that, upvote it in the comments. And then that lets me know that it's an interesting question that you'd like to know. And then, yeah, we'll take it from there. We'll see how it goes. But whether the follow-up is another one of these or whether it's a live stream, we'll just see how that goes as well, mate. And, aye, that's it. Thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.